All chains seem to be moving into NFTs. Do we have any Ripple fans in the audience? Even Ripple is now making moves into NFTs.
That is true. And Ripple has a $250 million a creators fund. Who here likes Ripple now? Woo! This is great. So building a sustainable future for NFTs, the one and only CTO of Ripple, Mr. David Schwartz.
Hey, look, Ma, I made it. Woo. Hey, look, Ma, I made it. Everything's coming up. Aces, aces. If it's a dream, don't wake, don't wake.
So I'm told I'm the only podium liker here. I hear nobody else likes podiums, but I am a big fan of the podium. All right, nobody cares. My name's David Schwartz. I'm CTO at Ripple. I'm going to talk about building a sustainable future with NFTs. It is amazing to be here at NFT.NYC. Every year it's bigger. This year is especially interesting because of the crypto winter and the bear market. I know it's a little depressing for people who have funds in the market, but it also means that like the projects that were bad ideas kind of get shaken out, and the serious projects can focus on building, so it's not all bad. How do I advance the slide? Sorry. There's no clicker for the slide. Okay, well, you're not going to get to see my slides. So proof of work has been used by a lot of blockchains to secure them. It has a very, very high cost. Someone get a clicker for me? Sorry about that. Okay, still nothing? Still nothing. Okay, never mind. Give one more try. No. So proof of work is being used by most blockchains to secure their advancing. It has a very high cost, and as I've said many times, it provides mediocre decentralization. That high cost is not just money, but it's also cost in the in environmental impact and energy consumption. A lot of people have pitched POW as proof of work as providing an equal opportunity, but it just doesn't. It provides an advantage to whoever has the cheapest power and whoever has the best ASICs, and so it doesn't provide the type of decentralization that I think we'd all like to see. I think it's also important to remember that miners pay for power with money generated by the ecosystem. So if you're mining Bitcoin, the money that you use to pay for energy isn't coming from the miners. That money is coming from the people who use the Bitcoin ecosystem. It's a tax. It's a form of residual friction. And I think an analogy to think about is when you look at some blockchains, they measure the value that they're creating by the fees that they take in. So Ethereum takes in a lot of fees. Bitcoin takes in a lot of fees, and that tends to suggest to some people that those blockchains are particularly valuable. But that's residual friction. It's like the money that PayPal makes, right? PayPal reduces friction between buyers and sellers, but the money PayPal makes is the friction they didn't remove. If you're a buyer, any money that PayPal makes is money that you had to pay, and if you're a seller, any money that PayPal makes is money you didn't get. So if you think about fees as being good, they're actually a bad thing. They're a measure of friction still left in the system, and don't think that systems that have more residual friction are better. That's sort of the reverse of a logical way to assess the value of the system. The XRP ledger was built as a decentralized, open source, trustless blockchain. Any participant can ensure the compliance with all system rules. So you don't have to, just like in Bitcoin, you don't have to trust that someone who sends you a Bitcoin has that Bitcoin, or that no more than the correct number of Bitcoins will be created. Every participant can enforce every single rule. It uses a distributed agreement algorithm, a form of consensus. And it has a decentralized exchange and supports multiple assets. So you can issue arbitrary assets on the XRP ledger. You can hold them. You can trade them. And financial institutions use that blockchain today because it can provide fast, cheap finality. If my slide was up, it would tell you that a transaction on the XRP ledger takes about 5 seconds. So you can form a transaction and have finality in less than 10 seconds. It's extremely cheap. The cost of a transaction is a tiny fraction of a second, and it provides high finalization. When a transaction's final, it's final. And it's green. It was the first major blockchain to go completely carbon neutral. It doesn't use proof of work. It uses a distributed agreement algorithm. People use the decentralized exchange for NFTs without any official NFT support. A man named Weitzu Wind figured out that you could basically use issued assets, the way the DEX stablecoins work, to create NFTs, but it's a little bit of cramming a sort of round peg in a square hole, or vice versa. So we proposed XLS20 along with the community to provide native support for NFTs. And it provides minting, burning, royalties, co-ownership, all of those features that you want. Now, the problem is, how can you have hundreds of thousands or potentially even millions of NFTs on a blockchain without the cost going up? And so Ripple and other members of the ecosystem put tremendous effort into performance improvements and scalability design in the software. The community is now voting on XLS20, which is the standard that provides that improved support for NFTs on the XRP ledger. So what could those NFTs be good for? Well, we've all heard of applications like art and real estate, but I think there are very interesting applications in gaming where you want to get users onto your latest, greatest game. You don't want to have to keep developing your old game. You don't want 10 million users on your old game and 100 million users on your new game, because now you sort of have to split your development resources. You want people to move to the new game. The problem is, if you played a game for a while, you kind of feel like a senior in college. You feel like you're at the top of the totem pole, and when you join a new game, you feel like you're at the bottom of the totem pole. NFTs could provide a way to give you something special when you go to a new game so that you don't feel like you're on the bottom of the totem pole. And it doesn't have to be real, it just has to be subjective. Like, you're not going to play the game without it and with it. So you just have to feel like you're being treated like royalty, and NFTs could provide that type of experience. Media and entertainment have middlemen that are tremendous residual friction. NFTs could reduce that middleman. Carbon markets have huge problems with the double spend problem. Blockchains and NFTs eliminate that double spend problem, provide better tracking. Ripple is very concerned about carbon markets and sustainability, so we've created a $100 million carbon fund, working with companies like Carbon Cure, which is capturing carbon in concrete, Zange, which is a UN-backed fintech working in sustainability, and then there's Invert, which is a carbon offset company. I wish I had a lot more time to talk about other features of the XRP ledger beyond just its high speed, low cost, and its NFT support. We have features like escrow, which allows you to lock up funds and release them on a condition. Pathfinding, which allows you to make cross-currency payments that use multiple sources of liquidity to save money. We have incremental payment execution systems so that you can execute a payment against multiple paths at the same time. If you make all of your trade on one order book, you buy the order book down and the rate gets worse. But if you draw across multiple order books, you can preserve that better rate. Negative UNL, which is a security feature, invariant checking, social money, social credit. I would urge you to check out xrpl.org to see the features for sustainable NFTs that the XRP ledger has, and have a look at Ripple's Creator Fund to help people trying to build in the industry get their projects off the ground. Thank you.
David Schwartz gets a round of applause for two reasons: great content and under time.
Very nicely
Good job.
done.
That's
He needed about 45 minutes, so that guy's got so much knowledge, it's unbelievable.
That's fantastic. Okay, so I've been passionate about electronic games since I was